Welcome. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to First Unitarian Church in New Bedford. I am Karen Anderson, and I minister to this congregation as we minister to each other. We are a beloved community of people who believe everyone is worthy of respect, science is real, the democratic process is a sacred thing, that we are all part of an interconnected web, and that the light and energy we share and put out makes a difference in the world. We are people of purpose here, and if what you hear today resonates with you, we hope you'll consider becoming part of this way cool community of seekers and keepers of this long dream. Let us light our chalice this morning with words from Reverend Suzelle Lynch, used by permission. Each time we light the chalice, we renew our commitment to our Unitarian Universalist faith. With the spark of a match, we make it new again, as fresh and surprising as the first day we encountered this spiritual community and realized we were home. Let us light our chalice. Opening words this morning are used by permission from Reverend Gretchen Haley. It's called The Promise That We Make. It starts here, in this moment, in this breath you feel rising in your chest, this beat building between us, the healing, the hunger, the hope, the courage, the calling, the commitment, the drawing out of a new day. It begins now in the imagination, in this story we weave together, this song we sing, this prayer we bring into being from our hearts, from our lips, from our hands, to our life, our shared life. It starts here with praise and thanksgiving, forgiveness, and this humble, centering confession that we could be wrong. This promise that we make to keep learning, to keep trying, to keep our sense of humor, to keep close this knowing that we are all in this together. Come, let us begin. Let us worship together. Let us take just a moment to stretch out our spirits, greet our friends at home. We're so glad you're with us today, and we miss you. Now we will recite our covenant together. We come together as a religious community, upholding freedom of conscience, right relationship, and the inherent worth of all, and the inherent worth of all people. We value our diversity and pledge to care for one another in the spirit of compassion, to speak and listen to each other with respect, and to promote justice and kindness in the world. Now, we're going to sing my first hymn, but let me just quickly clear my throat. Okay, our first hymn this morning is Voice Still and Small. We'll sing it through twice. Voice still and small, quenching my tears through all the years, singing, voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing, in storm and rain, sorrow and pain, still we remain, singing, calming my fears, quenching my tears through all the years, singing. Such a lovely little hymn. Now, a few candles of healing and celebration. First, I light a candle of love and sympathy for our RE director, Yasmin, whose mother-in-law, Gloria, passed away this week, and for her husband, Dean, and her kids, Rye and August. And I'm sure several of you have had conversations with Gloria at coffee hour over the years when she's visited. She was a great mom, a great grandma, and just a wonderful person to be around, and she sure will be missed. Second candle, a candle of love for a couple, Colin and Jordan, that I married on Wednesday, which was the 20th anniversary of them meeting each other. So happiness and long life to you both. A candle of love for our Board of Trustees and our Finance and Endowment Committees and our Treasurer and our House and Grounds. All of these people that have been working to make sure this place keeps running while no one's here. And it's a small and steady and sturdy group of people that's been working really hard to keep us moving forward here. So I just want you to know that your dedication is really appreciated. Thank you. And I light a candle of joy for my friend Milton Brightman, who will be meeting me later this afternoon to donate a painting of his to our church, which includes our church in it. So thanks, Milty. That's really kind of you. And I will light 2 final candles today, as is our practice here. One is for all of the joys and the sorrows we keep in our hearts today, and one for everyone who is yet to find a safe and secure place to share their joys and their sorrows. Sorry, we don't have any good news this week. Our first reading this morning is from Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. The moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising to one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidences and meetings and material assistance. Whatever you can do or dream, you can begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Join us now in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Our meditation this week is from the great Howard Thurman, from his book, The Inward Journey. And this is a fair use portion from the book. Keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve. Despite the dullness and barrenness of the days that pass, if I search with due diligence, I can always find a deposit left by some former radiance. But I had forgotten. At the time, it was full-orbed, glorious, and resplendent. I was sure that I would never forget. In the moment of its fullness, I was sure that it would illuminate my path for all the rest of my journey. I had forgotten how easy it is to forget. There was no intent to betray what seemed so sure at the time. My response was whole, clean, authentic. But little by little, there crept into my life the dust and grit of the journey. Details, lower level demands, all kinds of cross currents. Nothing momentous, nothing overwhelming, nothing flagrant, just wear and tear. If there had been some direct challenge, a clear-cut issue, I would have fought it to the end and beyond. In the quietness of this place, surrounded by the all-pervading presence of God, my heart whispers, keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve, that in fair weather or foul, in good times or tempests, in the days when the darkness and the foe are nameless or familiar, I may not forget that to which my life is committed. Keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve. Amen, and so may it be. Our second reading this morning is from Reverend Rebecca Parker, used by permission. It's called Choose to Bless the World. Your gifts, whatever you discover them to be, can be used to bless or curse the world. The mind's power, the strength of the hands, the reaches of the heart, the gift of speaking, listening, imagining, seeing, waiting. Any of these can serve to feed the hungry, bind up wounds, welcome the stranger, praise what is sacred, do the work of justice, or offer love. Any of these can draw down the prison door, hoard bread, abandon the poor, obscure what is holy, comply with injustice, or withhold love. You must answer this question: what will you do with your gifts? Choose to bless the world. The choice to bless the world is more than an act of will, a moving forward into the world with the intention to do good. It is an act of recognition, a confession of surprise, a grateful acknowledgement that in the midst of a broken world, unspeakable beauty, grace, and mystery abide. There is an embrace of kindness that encompasses all life, even yours. And while there is injustice, anesthetization, or evil, there moves a holy disturbance, a benevolent rage, a revolutionary love, protesting, urging, insisting that which is sacred will not be defiled. Those who bless the world live their life as a gesture of thanks for this beauty and this rage. The choice to bless the world can take you into solitude to search for the sources of power and grace, native wisdom, healing, and liberation. More, the choice will draw you into community, the endeavor shared, the heritage passed on, the companionship of struggle, the importance of keeping faith, the life and ritual of praise, the comfort of human friendship, the company of earth, the chorus of life welcoming you. None of us alone can save the world. Together, that is another possibility waiting. Amen to that, church. Now is the time in our service where we will ask you for your kind donations toward the good works of this church. You can go to our website, uunewbedford.org, scroll down, find our donate button, and do it that way, or go old school, send us a check at 71 8th Street, New Bedford, Massachusetts, 02740. And please hit the like and subscribe button to our YouTube channel so you can make sure you get all the content we post. Now, our sermon this week, commitment. What does it mean to be people of commitment? That's our theme for this month. It's kind of a heavy theme, I guess. When we think about making a commitment to something, a real commitment, it implies that it isn't to be taken lightly. Making a marriage, having a child, finding your vocation, being a member of a congregation or a church or an organization, growing a garden, playing piano, tending chickens or bees, having cats and dogs or lizards. All of these things require some level of commitment to make them thrive. One of our discussion questions this month was, what commitment shaped you the most? What commitment most deeply defines you? Think about that for a moment, church. Think for a moment about those questions and some of the commitments you've made over the years, over the course of your life. I know sometimes I've overcommitted myself and couldn't possibly do everything well and with my full attention. I learned, however, not too long ago, but I have learned to know my limits. And at this point in my life, when I do make a commitment, I want to be certain that I can do it all the way. The first reading today from Goethe struck me as important to share, and I'm going to share it again. He said, "The moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising to one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance. Whatever you can do or dream, you can begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it." I don't know about you, but I know exactly what Goethe is talking about. Once that moment happens when a decision is made, and you feel it in your heart and your body and your mind and your soul, that you are dedicated to making something happen, well, something happens. Providence moves too. Now, you can call this providence divine, or you can describe it as the wellspring of energy that you've put so much into, giving it back to you when you need it. It doesn't matter what you call it. All that matters is that it seems to be present when we truly commit ourselves to something larger than ourselves. When it is right, everything in the universe seems to agree and help us get there. Believe what you want, but think of some time when something was just laid in your lap, a coincidence or a strange occurrence that brought you one step closer to achieving a goal. Commitment, however, was not meant to be something easily achieved, no matter how clearly the universe points you in the direction or the powers of providence support you. There are always challenges. There wouldn't be a heaviness to a commitment if we didn't go into it realizing that it will likely be difficult, but also believing that the end result is worth it. One of our Soul Matters spiritual resources this month suggests that we think about commitment in these three simple ways. The practice of being loyal to something larger than yourself. The practice of loving even when it's hard. And the practice of making, breaking, and remaking our promises. So let's unpack that a little bit. Practice of being loyal to something larger than yourself. This, of course, applies to faith in God, but it doesn't have to. A marriage is something larger than ourselves. The loyalty is built into it. It isn't about just what we personally think anymore. We have to make big decisions with another person. This can apply to the job that you are absolutely dedicated to, that nonprofit you want to see succeed, the amendment to the Constitution that you'd like to see happen, the old dog or cat that needs a home. Committing ourselves means putting something larger than us before us, and following through to make it real. The practice of loving even when it's hard. Ooh, this is a good one, and one that we all get. If you've ever been part of any family, or a marriage, or a church, you know what this means. There is no situation where everyone always gets along with everyone else, and it can be a challenge. But we have to lean in to the love we have and the commitment we've made in order to continue to make it real and true. Loving is hard. Being committed to loving just one person unconditionally is super hard. But the thing about love is that most of the time, in the words of the Beatles, the love you take is equal to the love you make. When people are committed, we will tend to remember how the give and take works. And we will continue to love even when it's really, really hard. And last, commitment means the practice of making, breaking, and remaking our promises. On the surface, that doesn't sound like commitment, but it's really the key to it. This means accepting that 1 minute you might be right and the next you might be wrong. This is life, people. We learn things, and we learn other things. What we used to know, that was wrong. In fact, it might be one of the biggest challenges to our commitments to be able to acknowledge when we're wrong and to adjust to make things right. I was a young and idealistic mother, and when I was pregnant, I said to myself, I will never let the TV be a babysitter for my children. I was committed to always being there and answering all their questions. Yeah, that might work for a little while, but in real life, by the time they're able to walk, you would pay the devil himself to watch them for half an hour if there's no one else so you can take a shower or make dinner and not have to worry that they're getting into something they shouldn't be. And the TV show that they love and you know will keep them mesmerized for a while, well, might just have to break that initial promise and remake it to be a little closer to reality. Doesn't mean we love our children any less or have failed somehow. It's just how experience makes us understand life a little better. Nothing is perfect, even our commitments, because things change all the time. This applies to everything. Commitment is a fitting theme for our church right now. As we enter our new pledge drive season and looking forward to reopening our church in the fall, we need to make some changes to remain viable for the future. And the commitment we have to this cause will determine how long we can keep this dream alive and the doors open. The loss of income from the thrift shop has been a hit, as well as the lack of a weekly collection here. Though we have been so grateful that everyone, so many people were right on top of their pledges this year and got them in early. And lots of other people who just sent in donations this year because they knew we were struggling. We are so appreciative for all your love for this church. But an uncertain future lay before us. And creative thinking is what we need to ensure we can remain here and that our building remains sound. We can use all the help we can get. The practice of being loyal to something larger than yourself. If you aren't a member and have thought about it, thought about making a commitment to this long dream with us, maybe it's time to do that. We need new people, and I know you are out there who will love this place as much as we do. We need UUNB, the next generation. If you're a member already, please make a pledge during the upcoming pledge drive. We have less than 100 members here, and only about 60% make a pledge. And I am one of those people who must be discerning about where my money goes. And I can't make a big pledge either, as much as I'd like to. It's great to get big pledges, but let me tell you something. It isn't about the money, though it really, really helps to have some money. It's about the commitment. If what you can afford is quite literally $1 a week, fine. If you can only serve on a committee, fine. Do it. It's all an investment in keeping this long dream alive, and your commitment to that end will help make it so. The practice of loving even when it's hard. Being invested in this community, being committed to the practical and spiritual lives of our church family, as so many generations before us have been, is what we must continue to do together, with love. Our church being closed for over a year has been trying. If there's nothing else our history reminds us of, it is that we've been through trying times before. We may not have the influx of money our church once had to sustain us, but I think we have just as much of a spirited bunch of young and old who are creative dreamers and thinkers and can help think us outside the big granite box and work through these challenges. Practice of making, breaking, and remaking our promises. We are not just a big granite box, but there is and never has been anything perfect about us. We are here primarily to covenant together toward a deeper spirituality and a higher purpose. We could do that anywhere, I guess. But we are also people who love this sacred space, and we want to see it remain. All of our ancestors are here, and we don't want to lose this. Part of being committed to this church means trying the best we can to be stewards of this building and learning from the many mistakes we've made in the past. I think others will want to help us remake the promises we've made to this community for centuries. When you make a commitment to a community and abide by it for this long, we might expect that in our time of need, that community might just give back. I have lots of ideas, and I bet you do too. So let's use this month to think deeply about our commitment to this church, to each other, how we can share this ministry, share these growing pains together, and find inventive and resourceful ways to weather the storm. It's the challenges that make the commitments real and which, in the end, make all the work worthwhile when we overcome them. So here's to looking forward, stoking the fires of commitment so the next generation can someday sit by this warm fire too. Amen, and so may it be. We're going to have one more hymn for you today, since it's so fitting. It is called The Fire of Commitment. We rarely use this book, but this is one of the interesting new hymns that we have from it. From the light of days remembered burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith, set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze. When our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way. When we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the stories of our living rings a song both brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our minds and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which reminds a deeper justice built by our courageous choice. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion gets to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. Closing words today are from Martha Kirby Capo. Martha Kirby Capo. Our time together is finished, but our work is not done. May our spirits be renewed and our resolve strengthened as we meet the challenges of the week, the days to come, the months to come. The chalice flame is extinguished until we ignite it again with the spark of our communion and our commitment. And so we extinguish our chalice. Hold fast, church. We love you. See you next week for Women's History Month. Take care.